A Georgia couple is sentenced to 100 years behind bars after adopting two young boys to repeatedly rape. The dads even installed cameras throughout their family home to capture this ongoing sexual abuse. If that wasn't enough, though, they posted the images and videos online so other predators could view these horrifying crimes. We cover a lot of really intense.
Yo. Oh my gosh. All right, so you got two flamboyant people here, LGBTQ people, and they're apparently they're each other weren't enough for each other's adult desires, for lack of better terms. So then they go and they get two children for the sole purpose of corrupting those children in a deviant manner, for lack of better terms. I'm trying to word this real careful. The level of sickness in this is abhorrent at this point. Like, that is, they need to look into that. And I don't know. On one hand, I feel like death penalty should be the thing, and I'm not, obviously I'm not the judge. On the other hand, I don't know. I feel like that's letting them off too easy. That's absurd.
Intense topics here on Law and Crime. And this one is truly one of the more messed up stories I've ever looked at. I mean, we're talking about two young children who are the victims in this story, which unto itself is heartbreaking. But it's an added layer of...
And then, I'm sorry. I know I just paused, but look at the pictures that they posting with these kids. Like, look at what they're doing. Look at the image that they're trying to facilitate with how they're bringing this across. Like, look what they're trying to do. They're trying to put out the whole happy family vibe. Now I'm wondering how they got caught.
Depravity when we consider that the bad guys in this story are actually the boys' parents. A family's home is supposed to be safe. It's supposed to be a place where the kids can trust their parents and feel at home, but instead, first responders call this a house of horrors. That's a direct quote. Take this as your trigger warning, because right now we're going to dive into
both parents.
The parents in this case are 34-year-old William and 36-year-old Zachary Zulock. They're a married couple out of Walton County, Georgia, which is just east of Atlanta. We're not revealing their sons' names to keep the boys' privacy, but we can tell you that right now they're ages 10 and 12, and they were adopted by the Zulocks through a Christian special needs agency. Outwardly, the Zulock family seemed to have it all.
Man, it seemed like a lot of predators and just bad people in general hide behind faith. I wouldn't even say just Christianity. I'm just talking about like faith in a higher power. They use a lot of hidden tactics to go about living their life however you want to perceive it. This is pretty bad, man. Both of the people who were deeming themselves as parents, are both attacking the children. I'm assuming probably every day of the week, and there's no reprieve. There's no. The kids don't got nobody to run to. The kids don't have nobody to. These kids are so small; they're probably not even exposed to other people. Like, who are they going to talk to give this information to? The kids look maybe 3 and 5, maybe. I don't know if that's what she said, but man, this is sick. This is sick, man.
William worked for the government and Zachary had a job in banking. Their home was upscale too, in a nice neighborhood of Loganville, Georgia. They posted pics online that were smiling, happy, basically looking like they were the picture-perfect family. They even have a photo wearing shirts that say, "Love my family," with the rainbow flag in support of pride. But behind this facade, there was something much more sinister. Now, the investigation dates back to July 2022, when the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's Exploitation and Computer Crimes Unit got a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. According to this tip, child sex material was traced to an IP address in Walton County, Georgia.
And then I didn't even get to that part. Holy, they were uploading what they were doing after to other people of the same nature. Who knows if this would have turned into a human trafficking thing had they not found out, like had the police not found out about what they was doing. But I mean, it's bad enough, man. Them kids is ruined. They're done. Mentally, they're gonna need a ton of therapy. And that might not be enough.
That's the same area where the Zulock family lived. But the person behind this address, it was actually a man named Hunter Lawless, who was caught downloading homemade child porn onto his computer. Lawless fessed up right away, though. He admitted to the crime, but he told investigators it wasn't him who created these images. Instead, he said the person behind this child porn sex ring was a man named Zachary Zulock, and he said Zachary had sent him these images and videos, and in the past, offered his sons up to Hunter Lawless. Just a quick note here, Hunter Lawless pleaded guilty to sexual exploitation of children and was sentenced to 20 years in prison.
But I tell you about that human trafficking thing.
Arrest of Luis
I seen it coming.
Vaccaro Sanchez, who was eventually charged and sentenced to 60 years in prison. Meanwhile, the investigation pointed back to the Zulock family. Inside their home, investigators collected 7 terabytes of child sex material.
Jeez,
let that number sink in.
Goodness.
A terabyte holds 1,000 gigabytes. That's anywhere between 200,000 and 500,000 pictures, or if it's video, it's 500 hours. That means these dads had more than 3,000 hours worth of child pornography recordings of their own sons. And if you want to quantify that in photos, we're talking
I'm
3.5 million pictures of 2 young boys, now ages 10 and 12. Investigators later revealed that the dads set up security cams in their own home, like how we see nanny cams or ring cams inside of our home, but these cams weren't used for security reasons. Instead,
yeah,
they
this
were
is
used
so
to record
sick.
the sexual abuse that was taking place all over the home. Investigators say both parents repeatedly raped these boys and recorded it with video or photos, but that wasn't all. They also admitted to all of these crimes in texts and social media messages. Investigators say the men would brag to their friends, saying they planned to have sex with their sons, and then they would follow up after they carried out this really disturbing act. Both men eventually admitted to this, saying to investigators that they sodomized the boys and forced them to perform oral sex on both parents. Here's how the charges broke down. William Zulock was charged with 6 counts of aggravated sodomy, 3 counts of aggravated child molestation, 2 counts of sexual exploitation of children, and a couple of other sexual offenses.
I want to see what
Zachary Zulock was charged with 2 counts of aggravated sodomy, 3 counts of aggravated
at least
child
100 years.
molestation, 2 counts of sodomy, 3 counts of sexual exploitation of children, 2 counts of pandering for a person under 18, and other sexual offenses. Now, William pleaded guilty to all these charges back in August, and Zachary pleaded guilty to all but 1 charge. That didn't work out for him, though, because he took it to a bench trial and was found guilty there. Just this month, both men were sentenced to 100 years in prison without the possibility of parole, meaning they'll spend the rest of their lives behind bars. This case is truly...
Sorry, I'm not usually happy for people's downfall, but in this case, I'm absolutely ecstatic for these 2 guys. They got what they deserved, and probably not enough of what they deserve, because 100 years is a lot of time. But the heinous acts that they committed, man, I don't really know the proper way to speak on the situation, because it's a very delicate situation. You're talking about 2 children who were in the system that did not have to go through this. And now it had been going on for years by the time that they, were found out about. And these people were bragging to their friends and all types of stuff. Like, they were sharing the images all over the internet. Like, how will these children recover from this? How will this be prevented in the future? These are the questions we need answered. But this is next level disgusting. Crazy.
6 college students are in big trouble right now, facing felony charges after police say they lured a man to the college campus, chased him down, accused him of being a pedophile and a sexual predator, which he wasn't. Turns out this was all staged for social media, but the victim's complaints brought the suspects to a real-life courtroom. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
I gotta say this before they go on with this nonsense. Come on, man. I couldn't just, with all the debt that y'all accruing being in college, with all of the tariffs and all the other things that we got going on in the world nowadays, playing Batman on college campus is what you decided to do? That's what you thought, like paying, $20,000 to $40,000 a year for education, and then also trying to lure people into the campus to do this nonsense. Like, I don't know, man. I really don't understand it. I can't lie. Because with your life already being in college, having to provide for yourself and study and do all the things that you got to do. I never went to college, but that's what I would imagine you got going on. Having time to do a predator's thing, I don't know, man.
To catch a predator is a cultural phenomenon. How many of you watched it out there, right? Everybody knows that when Chris Hansen asks somebody to take a seat, they're about to be busted for some sort of very inappropriate behavior, usually with teens and children. But when amateur vigilantes get involved, that is when things can get pretty dicey. I mean, we just told you the other day about a group of YouTubers in Chesterfield Township, Michigan, that busted alleged predators by pretending to be a 15-year-old boy on back-to-back days.
I'm honestly not a pedophile. I think those guys are disgusting.
You do realize how serious this is, right? You're talking about a kid.
Well, it seems like they at least had the sense to call the police in. That way they weren't doing the arresting part. So they probably didn't even get in trouble for that.
Buddy. Stop antagonizing them. Just stop. You got your point across.
The group called police, had them deal with the men, 23-year-old Dylan Bishop, 37-year-old Christopher Paul. But now we go to Massachusetts, because police in Massachusetts say not only did a group of college kids take matters into their own hands, it spiraled out of control in a really bad way. So to talk about this, I want to bring back on friend of the show, Genesee County, Michigan Sheriff Chris Swanson, who actually does Predator Busts with Chris Hansen. So good to see you. Thanks so much for taking.
What I'm thinking is probably the dude got violent on one of them, and that's the thing. People believe that if a dude or a woman is either being a woman if she's small, or if a dude is flamboyant, for lack of better words, that means that they don't have the strength to defend themselves, or they don't have the power to defend themselves. And it's like, this dude is a predator. At the end of the day, that doesn't mean he's not still a man in his core. I'm saying, like, he doesn't have man strength. Like, I don't know why they would think dude can't defend himself, but neither here nor there. I just thought this was kind of crazy, because what is your reasoning behind this, other than people chasing clout, like chasing virality? What could be your reasoning? If the police ask you, okay, why did you do this? What are you gonna say? Oh, we're trying to take these guys off the street. You're not a superhero, bro. What's your whole thing?
Taking the time.
Craziness.
It is a shockingly graphic story of betrayal and torture. The latest in a trio of defendants has just been sentenced to prison for her role in a brutal child abuse case. We're analyzing the details with Anna Sonoda, an expert on how predators target kids. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
It's apparent to me that out of both genders, in a lot of cases, women have it easier in life in general, in my opinion. Take that for what you will. I just can't understand how it is that they get involved in these type of situations, whether it be the offering of the child, meaning like she's the mother and she's offering up the kid, whether it be like a woman going at another kid in a sexual way. It's confusing to me, because it's like, I don't know if the pregnancy, the bond that you form with a child, if that means nothing. I don't know. I know some people don't have children, and maybe that's why they get involved in this type of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It's just confusing to me. But yeah.
20-year-old Maria Evans will spend the next 2 decades in prison after she
Jeez,
pled
2
guilty to a
decades is
reduced
rough.
charge of aggravated assault causing serious bodily injury. Evans was one of 3 defendants charged in this Cook County, Texas case. One, 38-year-old David Calhoun, was convicted in March on various assault charges and sentenced to 10 life sentences.
Oh,
The
Lee.
third defendant in this case.
All right, wait a minute now. Did you hear what they just said? They said 10 life sentences. That's a dude. I didn't hear anything about sexual abuse. He might have sexually abused somebody, but 10 life sentences. Compared to the first lady, they said she got 20 years. What's going on with the man? Somebody please explain this to me, because I'm not understanding what, like, they were in on the same thing.
David's wife, Ashley, is due back in court next month. Now, a lot of this alleged abuse that we're about to get into, revealed during Calhoun's trial, is just too graphic to get into. I am telling you, it is so horrific. This is, I'm confident to say, this is the worst case of child abuse I have ever seen, I have ever covered. To give you an idea of this,
That's not good.
Pamela Miller, who's a
done
senior
a lot of
policy
cases.
analyst with an institute that advocates for child abuse victims, labeled the abuse as, quote, intrafamilial child torture, saying it was almost indistinguishable from the type of torture that POWs, prisoners of war, and political prisoners suffered during the Korean War and the Vietnam War. Except
That's
here we're
wild.
talking about children. According to prosecutors, Calhoun inflicted brutal abuse on several kids, stepchildren, nephews, inside of a fifth-wheel trailer. Court documents say the abuse started in 2017 after Calhoun started caring for his nephews. Caring is in quotations there. And 5 years later, in 2022, investigators found Calhoun's 16-year-old nephew in a Nebraska hotel room with several unrelated adults. The boy told police he'd escaped a home where he'd suffered severely. He showed them scars across his body, gave detailed accounts of being tied up for days,
That's crazy.
set on fire, burned, beaten, stabbed, and honestly, I think a word that I could use here that's appropriate, mutilated with objects. Again,
Bro, with family members like this, like, how do you trust again? How do you have faith in humanity again with people like this walking around? This was supposed to be his blood uncle, from what they're saying. How do you not walk around with hatred for the world after this takes place? Like why are you, like, I believe, in my opinion, that there's no coming back from this. Like, it's almost like creating a monster, for a lack of better terms, because it's like, how did this kid get on in the world in a regular way now? Even when it stopped, like, this is gonna haunt him for the rest of his life.
I don't want to get into it more. It is nauseating. I physically got nauseous when I was reading what was going on here. And investigators later found multiple other victims. Calhoun's wife, Ashley, and Maria Evans, they are accused of participating in the torture of these children. Both Ashley and Maria, they testified against Calhoun during his trial. Maria says Calhoun started grooming her when she was 17 years old and that he forced her to abuse the children. She claimed she was in fear for her life, and she did what she was told.
I don't believe that.
Ashley testified that her husband forced her to have sex with a minor that was involved in this case. Jurors were also shown a picture of carvings on Ashley's chest that were done by Calhoun with a pen. We are talking sick stuff here. And as part of her plea deal,
I don't know about the whole forcing, because listen, when people are backed into a corner, they often will use that ploy. Yo, he made me do it, or she made me do it, or it was their idea, because they don't want to, they don't want to get hit with that sentence. But at the end of the day, man, we're talking about adults with free will. Like, you're married to the dude. Okay, get on. Find somewhere to go. I don't know. Go sleep in a police station. If you want to find you that bad, he'll come get you, right? You in the right place at that point. Like, I've never been a victim of, like, you know, no serious abuse or nothing like that. So I can't really say, like, you know, I'm sure it's mental gymnastics to all this too, but I don't know. You had to get up out of there.
Maria pled guilty to that reduced charge of aggravated assault causing serious bodily injury. She was sentenced to 18 years in prison. No word yet on when Ashley Calhoun will head to trial or if she'll take a plea, but again, she's expected in court. I want to bring in licensed clinical social worker Anna Sonoda, who wrote.
All right, y'all. This is gonna be the end of the video. Thank you for all those who stayed and watched all the way through. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Click all so you can be notified anytime that I upload. Also join the Discord. The link is in the bio. Also, the link to the original videos will be in the bio. You guys stay safe, and I appreciate you guys watching. And hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.